Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. Thanks for joining me on the Naked Tog this time. I'm so very excited to be welcoming Kris Anderson, who is an exceptionally amazing photographer. I'm not going to say where he's from because he'll do that himself. So I won't say where he's from, but we're in very different time zones and I've managed to corral him and persuade him, it wasn't that difficult in all fairness, to come and join us today. Now, as always, there are 3 cuts of this specific recording. There is one which is you'll find on all of the podcast channels, which is fairly long. You'll have a longer uncut with special unseen bits, one inside our membership vault, the MTOG vault. Information about that will be in the description. And there will be a cut for YouTube, just with some of the little bits of highlights, but not a great deal of anything else. So without further ado, Kris, could you just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where you come from, and what you do?
Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Kris Anderson. I come from Brisbane in Australia. Not originally. I'm Canadian. I've got an American accent. I've lived in Brisbane forever. It's very confusing, but it's 7:40 on a Friday night for me, and it's bright and early for you. So, we'll make this work. From a photography point of view, my main gig is I'm a performing arts photographer. So I photograph like branding for theater companies, actor headshots, dancer and dancer portfolio work, and live production for theater companies as well. And when I'm kind of doing my own work, I do all kinds of weird stuff. So a lot of Photoshop storytelling, composite work, some in-camera long exposure, abstract portraiture, and everything in between. So that's me.
Could you just give us a nugget of information for people who are just like, my work's all the same, I don't know what to do, those things?
For me, one of the biggest triggers for like an illustrative print is a big emotional change. I know it sounds really weird, but when you kind of go, that's interesting, or that's sad, or that's amazing, or I feel sad now. Whatever just happened, something about it is probably a good trigger for an image. So I try to pay attention to those moments and write them down. And my family think it's ridiculous because we'll be out doing something and something will happen. We'll go, that'd make a great image. And I'll, put it on my phone. There are some techniques that you can use with like for ideation, just coming up with new things to try. Like there's an exercise in a different class at the societies last year. There's an exercise I did called the pivot exercise, where you write out a sentence for an image you might want to shoot, and then make like a man in a dark suit on a rainy day with an umbrella. And then you change something about it. You write out it again and you change one element, like the location or the subject or the number of subjects or the clothes or the weather or whatever. Just change something and then do it again and change something else and do it again and change something else. And that'll travel in different directions. And there's variations on this where like you write a sentence and you give it to a friend and they give you yours or they give you theirs. And then you each you change it and then you give it back again and like you do that, or you can chain it with a whole group of people. And the idea is that you're trying to kind of flesh out something that your sensible adult brain isn't going to come up with on its own, because we're too busy paying bills and driving at the speed limit and making sure we're following rules and doing all the stuff you do as an adult, where like if you think about kids, they're really uninhibited and all ideas are good ideas, and they don't have any fear at all, and they're coming up with crazy things. So allowing yourself to come up with things that are impractical or bizarre when you do this exercise. And it doesn't mean that the sentence you're writing out is the thing you're going to photograph, but sometimes something's going to show up. I'll give you an example. I did this, and I kind of said, I want to do a picture of my friend Scott because he's like a big kid. So I'll do like a steampunk photo of him and pivot. Okay, I'll do a steampunk photo of a couple. Pivot. Let's do a steampunk family. Oh, that'd be really cool. Pivot again. Let's do a bunch of steampunk kids. That's kind of boring because kids dress up in costumes, right? So why would I want to do that? Okay, so kids dress up in costumes and adults don't. Why is that? And that question led to an image about kids having dreams and they want to grow up and be an astronaut or a rock star or, a firefighter or whatever. And then kind of going into that machine of adulthood and throwing their dreams away so they can wear a gray suit and go work in a building in the city. That picture came from that pivot exercise. So that's like one of a million different things you can do to kind of draw ideas out of your head. Yeah. And I don't know if that is something that you've tried or that makes sense, but it's an interesting exercise to try for sure, especially with a friend, and trade back and forth. It's pretty cool.
That is awesome. Thank you for that nugget of information. No, that is super. I love it.
At the conference, I'm teaching 2 master classes, and one of them is specifically for people that have been listening to everyone else talk about AI, and they've kind of gone, I haven't really gotten into that. I don't know where to start. And they feel like they've missed the bus on it. So if you're in that boat and you're in London for the Society's convention, then this class is going to be about, well, where do you start and what tools are out there and how can you get going and what is all this prompting stuff and all the stuff that everyone else maybe is already getting used to using. So we'll use tools like Midjourney. Photoshop is advancing pretty quickly. So the stuff that you can get in the beta will hopefully be in the real version by then. So we'll tackle a lot of that stuff. And I think even if you're not going out of your way to be an AI artist, it's really good to understand the tools. Because it's coming. You can't put the genie back in the bottle. These tools exist. So as visual artists, it's important for us to know this. So if that's something you haven't wrapped your head around yet, that class could be really good. My other class is completely different. So I'm doing a 90-minute masterclass that is a headshot shoot from start to finish. So from how I communicate with clients, how I set up like my studio space, whether I'm working in a fixed studio or on site, how I shoot people. We'll do a live shoot with 2 people on different backgrounds and show kind of my communication style and that sort of thing. Delivering a proof gallery to a client, how they go about selecting them, what I do for editing, how I deliver them. So in 90 minutes, we're going to do the full kind of life cycle of a headshot shoot. If you've ever watched another photographer shoot, maybe you've assisted them or whatever, like you can learn so much about watching just by the tools they use and the words they use and little things. You'll pick up a ton. And that's what this workshop is designed to do. So 2 really different workshops. So hopefully there's something in there for everyone. But yeah, they're both going to be at the convention. So yeah, if we get details for that somewhere, that'd be really cool.
I will. In the description, in the caption, and in the post, depending on where you are watching, listening to this at the moment. Just as a very quick preview for that, if you're interested, it is in January in London of 2024. So if you're watching this well in the future, it is probably in the past. So 2024 January, and that's at the Societies of Photographers convention in London, where I'm coincidentally also doing 2 classes, a super class and a master class. So I'll join the plug, Kris, because I want to come to yours. I can't remember what mine are on. I'm doing a behavior-based one to get the best out of working with pets, specifically with dogs, and that is absolutely invaluable. Everyone needs that. And then the second one is a full shoot and edit as well of an urban pet portrait session, but you guys can shoot yourselves. So there's loads going on at that convention. It is worthwhile going, and you can meet Kris, and it's genuinely, that in itself is well worth it. So everybody should attend. So super.
There are so many classes on, like if you haven't attended that before, there's so much choice. There's so many options. There's literally something in it for everyone. So it is a 100% worth checking out.
Thank you so much for all of your time this evening for you. I really, really genuinely do appreciate it. I've had a wonderful time talking with you, and I'm sure that there will be a massive campaign from our members to have you do something inside our membership area also. So watch this space, because I'm fairly certain that that's going to happen, because you're just such a good human being, and I love it. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And I've had fun too. This has been really good. And I appreciate the chance to have the chat. So definitely excellent.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share? Do you do like any training elsewhere? Is there anywhere that people can see your work? Shall I just pop all of your links in the description?
Yeah, I'll give you a whole stash of links to put down there, but there's probably 2 places you can see my work online. You can see my commercial. I'll give you Instagram now. Commercial work, you can find it at Images by Anderson. So that's all the performing arts work, and occasionally like award stuff and other things. And I have an art account, which is at krisanderson.art. That's Kris with a K, because my name's a spelling mistake, but that's a whole other story. So go to those Instagrams or the websites or the other places online for all the information you could ever want. How's that? It's terrible pitch.
Perfect.
Terrible.
I know. I thought that was like 10%. Love it. Thank you so much, Kris. I will stop the recording now, and I'll see everybody else really, really soon.